ages ago now because they didn't have to play in Challengers 2. You know, for a lot of the time, they managed to subdue Kellogg's, but in the rounds in which they couldn't do that, Acend really struggled, and I think someone with a very aggressive playstyle like SSK could turn out to be a bit of a threat to the way that Acend play.
Recon Bolt high into the sky. For Zeke, should be a line up towards the back of site. We'll scout out some of those defenders if they can't get some info moving in, but CNED already leading the charge there for Acend as they make their first breach towards the B site. And it looks like that's going to be relatively unchallenged. Retake potentially on the cards here. They've left a rear guard as well in the form of Zeke, but the main challenge coming from Navi from their spawn. Cloud able to take the first. Starkso is going to go down. Spike getting indentured now. Flash is starting to move through, and utility invested. We're in a post-plant situation. Buzz tries to move around the side. First face, and it goes even. Ace able to get two, but it's evened up yet again with Arch able to take down Bone Cold, but CNA dashes back behind. One tap and done. And now we're into a 2 versus 2. The rear guard coming into effect. Zeke, one man left standing for Acend. They managed to make it up to the site, and he can't quite make it happen. Zeke falls, and Navi take the first.
It was a lot of green in that round. So many Viper walls. It was really fantastic. No, I mean, I think you know, for a first round, it really kind of captured what a lot of the characteristics of the way these two teams like to play are. You know, Acend didn't slow down in getting in on the site very early, but also Navi in a lot of cases like to play as a group. And we actually see this when they ran in onto the B site, they came around the wall. Even though CNED managed to get those 3 kills, they were trying to build up that trade potential, which is something that Navi did a lot against Team Liquid yesterday. So first round's going to be going on to them. They're going to be buying up with some Spectres. CNED straight away picked up the Marshal as well, something he likes to do early, pretty much as soon as he can in a lot of rounds.
I mean, especially here on Breeze, right? There's such a massive amount of range that you can put between you and even the defenders when you're peeking those angles. It has a lot of value. I mean, it's a little bit more expensive than that Sheriff, but in a lot of cases, the average return on that investment tends to be pretty poggers there, Gio.
No.
We're starting early.
I didn't realize you were actually going to do that live.
Oh dear.
That's so embarrassing. Well, this round actually is really kind of antithetical to what we had in the last round, where it was very fast, really sudden onto the site. Bone Cold's going to finally get that opening kill, but still everything's pretty static for the main part.
Just slowing it down. Making sure everyone's calm and relaxed. Navi potentially moving forwards here. 2 players very close. There's the Lear. The flash comes out, and actually Navi able to get the best of one, and SSK able to double on up as well. Looking for a little bit more, but now they're pinned into the corner. 2 players have to fight on out, and Navi again able to rack up 2. Now 1 player standing, and it's again Zeke. Only the classic. Has 1 shock dart available and no recon bolt for another 23 seconds. Not looking great, but goes for the challenge either way. Dino wins it.
Yeah, I mean, entirely unsurprised that Navi kind of played that the way that they did, where they sort of ganged up, waited for the right time, used the flashes, and try and suffocate those players from Acend and clear up a number of those kills. Again, that's something we saw them do a lot against Team Liquid yesterday. Really, on any kind of defense, and they did it quite a bit on Icebox, actually. They're really happy to play much further up, very far forward, and be almost this suffocating force, especially if a round has been going quite slow at the start. Navi will definitely jump on those opportunities to take advantage of them, and it's put them in a good situation so far for these first 2 rounds.
Navi are the attacking team now. They are swelling back in and just forcing out these fights when they need them. It's going all right to start off. Arch doesn't quite land the Sheriff shot there. Little tickle on the Starkso, but it's Bone Cold to pick up the frag, opening onto A. A good start for Acend on their potential comeback here. A bonus round, obviously, on the cards for Navi at the moment, and with that second as well, you have to wonder, are Navi going to be able to come back into this one? It just doesn't seem super likely. I mean, they've got the Reyna, they haven't got the Seekers available on Cloud. This feels like a save.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, they're not sending Dinks too far over. He was obviously all the way back kind of by window. Instead, he's just going to be watching over mid for now, but rather than, you know, trying to add particular forceful reinforcements onto this fight.
Just looking for exit frags, right?
Yeah, I mean, it really just looks like Acend. They got the plant. They're going to be moving out. There's no real reason or desire to move in for Navi.
I mean, they've got the Phantom over on Cloud, a Bulldog on Dinks, and to be honest, that's a pretty good pickup, as well as the armor that they've got in tow as well. You don't want to be sacrificing that. And they're going to be looking all right on the economy. 2-1, you know, it's a very standard sort of scoreline that we're going to see at the start of these games. Assuming everything goes normally, and it seems like it will do for now. No one really popping off at the moment. No one sending themselves towards the top of those tables distinctly just yet. Obviously with one side, I think it was one attempt at the B and 2 towards the A coming in so far on the attacking side for Acend. And 1A was able to get through, and that was on their rifle.
Yep, I mean, they've been able to buy up now. Cloud actually got that Phantom really early on. It wasn't just in that last round, it was back on round 2. So there was an early investment from them that seemed to pay off. Once again, Acend are going to be heading towards the A side. Cena just going to be dashing in. The Lear's going to mean he can't see anything just yet.
Yeah, tucks him back in, and in comes the Viper's Pit. They're going to open it up all the way over on the A site, and Acend want to get this plant down. They've already managed to take down the Reyna. An excellent tool to breach into that Viper's Pit with the Lear, but not going to be available to them. Not anymore. Unfortunately, though, Bone Cloud taking more than a tickle. Inside that pit, the Seeker's going to be invested as well by Stark. So Acend really want to keep this round going. They're investing here. Cloud not quite up to the Seekers. No counter Viper's Pit there. Zeke does go down, and Arch gives them a chance. Flashes past, and Ace managed to move through. Starkso finds one, but the spray transfer not quite on the ball there. And Arch lands a second as well. Taking down 2 for Navi. It's 2 versus 3 at the moment. Cloud on 1 HP. Gonna look to recharge that. There's the spike looking to get defused, but I'm not sure there's too much time left. Have they managed to stick it? I don't think it's gonna go through. There was just not enough time left in at the end of it. Acend last standing.
Oh, you hate to see it as well. Arch really kind of tried to take matters into his own hands in that round too. And I'm just thinking back to on the desk, they're talking about these arch nemesis. Oh, hey, arch nemesis, get it? These rivalries between these two teams that come down to Arch being on one side of those. And really, yeah, and Navi kind of close to bringing things in there. They did have to get pretty aggressive, but of course the Viper's Pit that we saw be invested by Bone Cold in that round was incredibly effective for them. Now we'll see what it is that Acend decide to do here. Well, you're away from a couple of ults if you're on the side of Navi, but for Acend, that's not really so much an option right now.
Sending in the owl drone for Zeke. Over towards the A site, figuring out what their options are in this situation. I mean, it's great to know what they aren't, but you do have to find those openings. Look at Acend. He's super far forwards right now in the tube. They are going to try and control the mid as well. Potential conflict here from SSK. They might just slip past one another. Oh, what a timing. I don't know if they know of each other's presence. That should give the game away. There's a sound cue. I know exactly what's up, and this should be, yeah, SSK all day. There's no way you get away from that one. And over towards the A site, potentially looking to strike now, whilst they know that SSK is over in the mid, but already the rotations come through. Challenge, Acend takes it down. Watchful from the top, and Bone Cloud doubles up. Finds a third for Starkso, and they've gone even. Managed to get themselves the advantage now. 3 versus 2.
Spike planted.
And they're going to have to fall back. Wait for reinforcements.
I mean, there hasn't really been that much to impede Ace in their endeavor on this round. You had a lot of presence from Navi over on the other side of the map without bringing any Cypher utility. So just having to move in now, and they're just, you know, holding on. Acend actually rarely missing that shot, but you can hear the time ticking down. Acend getting another kill for himself as well. I don't think it's really going to work in Navi's favor here.
Pokes the ponytail, pulls the shot, and forces Cloud to move around to the other side to take the face against 2. It's not going to work out, as you say. And that is Acend picking up a third round, putting it on the board. They're starting to ramp up, looking to try and pog off into the later phase of this half.
I think it's definitely worth noting as well at this point, you know, how do we feel about You know, how do we feel about this decision to bring Sova instead of the Yoru, right? And actually, so far, I think for Acend, it's been working pretty well. I know there'll be a lot of people out there who really wanted to see the Yoru, but we've seen that Owl drone come into use for them so many times over the last 5 rounds that I would argue it's been a good decision so far.
Absolutely, and I mean, it's such a useful tool against the Viper specifically as well, with that Owl drone, with that Recon Bolt, to be able to negate somewhat the pressure that is exerted by those Vipers, the Viper pit, right? Like, it's so difficult to move through it without that intel.
Now you can see that, yeah, well, I was going to say you can see they've actually decided to invest in this Cypher utility this time to try and slow down any potential push onto the A site, which wasn't there in the last round. But as you say, they're setting up and posturing over here onto the B site where there's not a huge presence from Navi, and there definitely isn't now that Arch and SSK have been taken down.
Goodness me, Bone Cold just shatters the keystone and Arch crumbles on the B site. Spike getting planted, the Neural Theft invested as well. And it seems like Navi are just going to strike an accord to recruit over towards the A site. Stay away from the fiery maw that is Ace descending on the B.
Again, just really patient, really slow. And you can see where, you know, someone like Bone Cold, for example, and CNED, they're coming up, pushing up towards Shop and Cave. Doesn't quite get the shot, but the point is it's really going to deter these players from Navi to actually make any kind of flank. Dino's the first one to go down, and it stops Dinks in his tracks, that's for sure.
The only place that they haven't really covered right now is towards the defender's spawn, but I feel like they know pretty clearly where a lot of these players are going to be holding. Dinks does manage to take one, but the money's going to be looking pretty good for Ace right now. Acend really starting to take off. Bone Cold, 6 kills already on the board on this Viper, but Arch not letting it go.
It's actually really interesting. Yeah, well, look at this. Tactical timeout. This is like super early. I was going to say it's really interesting as well because if you have a look at the last time that Acend played on this map, it was against Guild. And they did win, but we didn't really get to see much of their attack. They took all but one of their defending rounds, which was the first half of that game. And then Guild got 5 defensive rounds in a row. Acend took the last 2 attacking rounds that they needed, and that was it. So we got to see them successfully attack on 2 rounds in that game. And yeah, you know, it was a long time ago, but the point is this is still relatively uncharted territory for what we've seen as spectators or as fans, really. And Acend, you know, having such a good start here on their attack. They're looking very clean. And I think it's unsurprising when you consider the fact that they were very likely to be one of the toughest opponents that Navi would face. I think for many people, Acend are the favorite to win the playoffs. But it's still, you know, certainly a tough hill to kind of climb this early on in the series, given that Navi have never played this map as a team together. They're going up against such a revered team, and we haven't really seen much from what Acend have to offer on this side.
You've got to remember, though, on the flip side, is that Navi, you know, they are known to be able to take a lot of aggression, so perhaps their attack is what they're sort of waiting for here on Breeze. Maybe they have something to pull out there, but as of now, as of round number 7, they aren't quite going to be able to get anything in the bag just yet. I mean, they've got 2, sure, mostly off at the start, off that pistol. And I'll try and hold out again on that B site. The snake bite just slowing things down, but it looks like Carson's going to worry a single jot about that. Forced to reposition as well with the Hunter's Fury. They pick it up. 2 HP left. Navi give over the B for now, but the Viper wall will fade. Dino able to get a shot through the smoke. Traded off yet again. Traded yet once more. Cloud able to find the head on CNED.
Again, you just gotta wait for these other players of Navi to actually make their way around. Dino's just trying to shoot in through to the site, but, you know, he's just got a Marshal in hand, so already he's lacking the firepower that Ace are gonna have in
30
return.
seconds left.
There isn't a very easy way for Navi to actually break into the site either. There's a kill, there's a second one, all right. I said he didn't have the firepower. Maybe I was mistaken, John.
The value of the Sheriff, oh dear, Zeke has to fall back as well, and somehow Navi against all expectations, the tactical timeout must have worked something there, but Dino lands those shots. I feel like the crucial pick was onto Bone Cold, right? He had that Viper's Pit available. You get him onto site, you invest that Viper's Pit, that's the round over, right? But if Dino can just pop off with clear lines of sight, lands 2 headshots like that, triple kill on the round, phenomenal. And Zeke just left wondering what the hell happened to his team.
I have to say, I really love Dino's player cam, in inverted commas, because it's just a picture of him looking quite happy with himself. And, you know, behind a replay of him getting those 2 shots, it just looks really odd. SSK going to be stepping forward here, gets rid of the Trailblazer. But Dino, the first one to fall in this round, so we're not going to be seeing any more of what we saw in that last round for now.
I've got your trail.
Snakebite to try and reposition. Cloud wins the duel with Acend on the hold. And they start off well. They didn't use the Viper's Pit last round, but they've got it again this time. And they will be able to move on forwards. Looking those shock darts, looking for some spots, but Bone Cloud goes down, and SSK takes away a massive tool for the post plant. Didn't even manage to get the spike in, and now Navi just moving on through. Bone Cloud denied twice now on this Viper's Pit. And Navi able to take them down yet again. Acend with just 1 player left standing. Cypher at the back. I think they know it as well. Arch checking the angles, looking for the flank, and wins the duel as well. Beautiful hold there for Navi on A.
Yeah, and now they've evened things out. So the tactical timeout that they took clearly has had a good effect. And that's always nice to see, because I always feel really bad for teams when they take a tac timeout and then nothing comes of it. You can tell they've just kind of rallied together, had whatever discussion they need to have, and it's working out well for them. So going into this next round, well, okay, going into this next tactical timeout, first and foremost, this is where Acend are gonna take it at their turn. You know, they've got a decent amount of money on the board. The question for them is right now, what are they going to do with it? So I suspect that's something that they will be discussing. Of course, you can see on Navi's side, they've pretty much got everything that they need. They've entirely bought up on their utility. They have decent weapons. And while they're only bringing in 1 ult for now, they're not too far from a couple of others of theirs. So Acend will, regardless, still be coming into this next round on the disadvantage. And also just, you know, again, like, part of the reason you take that tag time out is because whatever was working for you before is no longer. So you've got to come up with something new. You know, I think one of the things as well is that Acend really started to change the way they were attacking once they knew that Navi were going to be investing certain utility and positioning in certain parts of the map. And Acend really took advantage of that. But what Navi have done in those last couple of rounds, where we've just seen them win, is that they've kind of thrown, not thrown caution to the wind, but they've said, okay, we see that you're trying to take advantage of where we're setting up our defense, so we're just going to either surround you or we're going to overwhelm you regardless.
I mean, in their interview, they said, we're not worried about the EU teams. We're just going to do as much as it takes to win. And to be fair, if you're going to start out a round to win, you want to take down Acend. Had the Blade Storm up, so denied that, denied any presence there. Cloud able to win the duel yet again. And they could just continue to move through. Zeke maybe looking for a little play up towards the mid, but not really too much more to do here. Arch. Oh, the timing against Stark, so not quite there. You have to move around carefully. Starkso lands the headshot, really heads up to get the flick there. And now, even Stevens on the board.
That was an unfortunate one there for Arch, because even if he'd been able to land that first kill onto Starzo, he definitely would have died anyway because of the trade potential that Acend had. I'm interested to see whether Dinks is going to make much of a difference here. He has been tagged out by the recon dart, which might force his position somewhat. And there we go.
30 seconds
Killers
left.
gets him. Dino can't quite land the shot that he's looking for, and this is the perfect opportunity for Acend to plant the spike. Now you've just got to send all the other defenders back in towards the site. We've seen this before.
We have indeed. We've seen these post plants, but Navi this time looks a little bit more keen to actually go for this fight. They've got some pretty hefty weaponry, don't have any ultimates available. But then again, neither do Acend. There's SSK first to face through the Viper wall. Starkso holding. Flash, it fades down. Needs to be on the ball, but back up from the rest of the team, and Zeke able to find another. Now it's just Cloud. Save that operator, save that armor. Just get out of there. Navi We're looking pretty strong, but finally, an opening found in towards the mid and Acend descend on A.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the thing is, you know, Navi, sometimes they have some really good post-plant rounds, but sometimes they just look incredibly slow, and I don't quite want to say lost, but it's like they don't really have what they want to do with it. The only ult that they were sitting on there was the neural theft, and as soon as Dinks went down, that was obviously taken off the board, and that was pretty early. Even then, a neural theft is not necessarily seen as a hugely pivotal ultimate anyway. They didn't really have the positions or the opportunity to surround and suffocate Acend on the site. And they seem to just kind of look somewhat lackluster on those post-plant rounds where they don't have the specific environment that they want.
We'll get some info, no? The Cypher playing at the back on A. And a forwards position being taken right now by SSK over towards this B site as well. Navi changing it up a little bit yet again. Bone Cold pretty close to danger. Both Vipers playing pretty similar right now. Neural Theft is available. Killes. So, if they're able to pick up a frag, they will be able to reveal these locations. SSK becomes less of a threat. But they still have to be worried. Open up the door. Acend have the tube. Now they can try and move on through from several different angles, but they don't have the baseline set up for the main approach over towards A from the cave. Excellent pick there for Bone Cold to find Arch. And now they can really use this this site presence over towards mid to get towards this B site.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, Acend they've really focused on their mid control in this round.
But Cloud's not going to go down without a fight. Now SSK can start to strike, finds two, fades away with a dismiss, back into cover as well. Now 3 players alive for Navi, and SSK isn't done. Looks for more as well, spots out Cloud. Zeke, sorry, the last player standing for Acend. As they had a good start to it, but trying to take the challenges on the swivel. Looks for 2, but can't get it done. Dino closes it down for Navi. 5 and 5 on the half so far, and Acend get taken to evens.
Well, I mean, I guess it's all well and good if you try and take mid control, but if you can't do anything with it, does it really matter? Because that was a pretty good round there from Navi. Just waited for them to get all the way over to the site that they were looking for and played it really, really well. Well positioned around all these players. They can bounce off of one another. It was really good coordination there from Navi to be able to punish Acend. Couldn't even get the spike down either. So those extra credits that you get from that, not there. Now, here's the defensive Vipers pick coming out. It's the first time that we're seeing it be used like this. The Starzo, the one with the opening kill.
Yeah, able to find one over onto Dino.
Seek them out.
Potentially moving over towards the A, but perhaps thinking that they're going to bait the Viper out to rotate. They'll know that it's not going to happen if the Viper's pit stays up. They are scanning for it, and actually they have managed to move the Viper out of it. Straight on in, CNED, Tailwind, updraft. Moves on in, but Arch able to get some value here. Finally taken down, and that will drop the Viper's pit. Move them straight onto B, and in post-plant situations, Acend typically have had the stronger performance so far in this matchup. Navi with 3 as well, and late to the party.
Spike is down, and the recon dart. Not going to find anybody just yet. This is the site where Navi have seemed to be more fortuitous on their post-plants. So that's going to require a bit more proactivity from Acend, and it's certainly going to pay off so far as 2 kills come in for them. And that's all they needed to do, just clear out the last one from CNED, and Acend take the lead once again.
Last round.
Moving in towards the last round of the half, as you hear the announcer declare. Could potentially be a 7-5 here, and that would be a really good result for Acend to be able to get those rounds on the board on their attacking half. Move into the defense and have some stronger rounds there, but Navi still on this map, against this team, an unknown quantity on their attack. Perhaps it's just going to be a bulldozer. I mean, they do have that Reyna who can lead the charge. They've got the Seekers to back it up. It's going to be difficult to deal with, and with the intel they can gather, maybe a different story as the half switches.
Well, if you're Navi, you definitely want to be investing everything here. Obviously, you can't keep it for the next round, and evening things up at the half is going to give you the best opportunity going forward, because I suspect they chose this side based on Acend's past performances when they were on defense. Zeke coming out with the Hunter's Fury. Acend's going to straight in go with the plant, and Dinks with the opening kill. So Navi, they're putting blood on the board. Who cares about the spike?
They've left 2 kills down now. Zeke able to even things up just a little bit. Looks for more challenge with the Vandal at range. Able to get 1. And now Starkso on the off. Spots Cloud, turns beautifully. 1 HP. Still alive, though, and still a threat. Zeke holding from the main. Stinks left to challenge the last player standing. And even we go to the half 6-6 with a 4K for Dinks to close it out for Navi.
Didn't even need to use everything. 6-6 at the half. This is just... You know what? I feel like you go back to yesterday.
Sides.
You know, remember yesterday when none of us knew anything that was going to happen?
All my trouble seems so far away.
I know, and you just say that this is gonna be it. And I know that we're still only in the first map, and we don't know how this is gonna go in the second half yet. Yes, all of those things are true, but still, I'm still trying to process the fact that Navi beat Liquid, and this is essentially a brand new team. You know, they were playing as no pressure previously. They were this orgless team. They've been picked up by this huge org. And now they're playing against some of the best teams from Europe, which, yes, I think it's fair to say is a bigger, more premier region than the CIS. And they are doing really well against them, especially here on a map that they've never played before. I mean, man, I want the whole series to be like this.
Let's take a look at how this pistol's going to pan out. Acend open up with a volley. And able to get 3 for it. Traded for 2. And the pistols not going to work out so far for Navi, but they have some info. A lovely 1-tap, but it's traded and the spike gets dropped. Excellent control right now. A lovely shock dart to tag Dino a little lower. Picks up the spike and now has a little bit more mobility, but the flank's coming in. The reload, unfortunate in the timing, but Bone Cold shuts him out. The first pistol goes to Ace Acend.
They are pretty good at pistol rounds, Acend are, so... Really surprised to see that one. I would say, though, in comparison to the first round that we had in this map, that one wasn't quite as spicy. I think the first round in this map was the spiciest. It was pretty good. It was like a middle spice level.
Yeah, on the Nando
it's like a
scale.
Kind of level.
Is it cheeky? Was it cheeky?
Yeah, it was a bit cheeky.
Okay, there we go. Fantastic stuff coming through. Medium to medium hot there on the scale from Geo. CNED challenging with the Sheriff. Saw him pick it up second round last time around. Set players will continue to come on through. The defense so far looking all right. This time will land the shot into SSK. Starkso gets another one with the Spectre as well across the way. As Dinks is going to fall, so no flanking coming on through. 3 players, 3 pistols, 1 Sheriff for Cloud. So headshot potential, but really difficult to sneak these through as Arch falls as well.
Yeah, it doesn't really look too good for Navi here with just 2 of their players remaining, and they're going to come face to face with Starkso. Oh, okay, he did see him eventually. Dino's just going to be running away, and Starzo feeling the pressure, but he can, of course, pass on all that information to the rest of his team, who can be in the perfect positions. What a coincidence to catch out those last 2 players of Navi. Navi still looking to put their first attacking round on the board. They still have some time to play with, of course, just given the scoreline at the end of the half. And they should also have the opportunity for some better weapons in this round as well.
Moving as sort of as pairs almost as on these pushes coming on through, you can see that in that last round, Acend were just trying to go for those trades if they did go down, but fortunately for them, they were all tickety-boo. Able to keep on hopping along. Now we're into a rifle round, potential bonus here for Acend.
And of course, CNED on the Marshal, because as we say, when they can't afford an operator, you can guarantee he's going to be playing it straight in through the wall. Just narrowly caught the pixel before then. Bone Cold coming up from behind, and Dinks can respond, but it's still looking better for Acend here.
SSK though. able to give them a hope. 3 versus 3, and actually, Acend pretty lined up towards mid, towards those double doors. Acend looking to challenge with this Spectre, with the Sheriff, with the Marshal even. Goodness me, I'll find it eventually. SSK finds another with the Vandal at range, but Acend will not stop hunting. This guy is on the hunt. He's out on Safari, but finally, he's taken down. Sprays potentially for Stark, so low HP for both of the Navi players. Changes out. I don't think that's been communicated. You do want to keep that Spectre in tow if you know those health bars are the way they are. But 3 bullets is all he needs. Peeks out at the wrong time and a headshot comes through. Navi take their first attacking round.
Not too much of a surprise, just given the way that the economy was sitting in that round, the fact that Navi had finally bought up into their first set of rifles and Acend had not. Some great shots there by Acend, but I feel like that kind of goes without saying. So
yeah, shots by Acend is enough, right? Like that's all you really need to invest. But speaking of investments, look at that, Acend dropping the op. Obviously that was the bonus, so they can come in swinging. Dino stuck on that Bulldog, Spectre for Arch as well, Guardian for Dinks. I mean, fair enough, you keep some range, you keep some presence, but see just what they're able to do with the Seekers moving on towards A. The Viper walls crisscross on the site and slowing things down just a little bit, not able to get that dart in. So a little bit less info. Bone Cold holding. Playing close with Stark, so Flash around the side, moves through, and Arch immediately dispatches with the threat. The Seekers didn't get it done, but now it's traded evenly. And at the back of sight, you still got Acend to worry about. Finds a shot over towards Dinks as the spike gets planted, but 3 players alive, a lot of damage sent on in. Moves through, spots a player, goes for the spray, but Cloud is pinged. Acend trades it yet again, finds a second, and Arch is dropped along with the Viper's Pit over the top, the tailwind, the updraft. It's all too much, and Cloud is dispersed.
I mean, one thing that Acend are definitely doing on their defense better, in my opinion, than what Navi were doing, and it's something that's allowing them to come back and have these really thorough fights and retakes compared to the way that Navi were playing, who were struggling somewhat on a lot of their retakes, is that Acend are being very reactive. So what I mean by that is when Navi come in, they're on the site and they're starting to plant, all of those defenders who are off-site start rotating. Whereas when Navi were on the defense, they were very reluctant to rush into those kinds of decisions. And in a number of situations, that's the right choice. It's not ever as black and white as you should rotate immediately or you should stay where you are. But there wasn't a ton of flanking being done by Acend. And so in Navi's case, it hurt them.
Lovely challenge down the tube there. One out with a cheeky little bit of a shoulder distraction coming through, but Acend able to land the shot nonetheless. On to Cloud. Take out that challenge. And now Acend 9-7. Looking to try and get up to the double digits, which is the real danger zone, especially when you consider the sides they're playing right now. We know where Acend like to be, and they are in their wheelhouse right now. SSK, though, we get a trade. But will it be enough? Will it be enough to find an opening? I don't think so.
Not quite. Not quite. I mean, nice shot from Dino, yeah. Acend know that there wasn't anybody who was coming across mid, so they pretty much don't have to rush anywhere, rather. They could just kind of hold their positions, and so far it's worked for them in these gunfights. SSK is just looking for what he can. They did earlier on clear that space, but of course it could have been retaken, and Zeke getting the kill onto him is going to maintain the control for Acend and just leave everything in Dino's hands.
And Dino will go down. Acend now up to 10. 7 rounds on the board for Navi. They should be able to buy up into this round. That last round a little bit sparse there. So potentially a little bit of cash left in the back pocket. Now's the time to invest that you don't want to be letting 11 come up on those boards. Really, really difficult spot to be in, but they should be all right. They've got a plan. They've got a strategy moving forwards. They have got the Empress available, as well as that Neural Theft. Not the most high impact in terms of brute force to move onto a site, but still, tools in the arsenal.
Yeah, Dings actually didn't use the Neural Theft a ton on the first half. I mean, I don't get to finish my sentences.
I mean, it looks, well, most of Navi don't get to finish their rounds either, but it looks like Dinks is going to try and make that story have a different ending this time around. Neural Theft actually being dropped on in, as just as you say it, will be able to get the info on the defense. Now, 4 players for Navi. They can move over towards this A site, a little bit slow to move back into position there for Acend. They've got the flank as well coming on through from the mid on Navi, but Acend, a formidable foe to face up against. And they want to try and take their time. Dinks spotted out, so they know there's this threat. Zeke, though, potentially unfound. Oh, caught on the rope, but sprays 1.
Oh my God.
Gets 2. God damn it, Zeke. What the hell was that?
Yeah, I mean, my sentiments exactly. I feel really bad for Arch here. He hasn't got many options trying to come in through Tube, and these last 2 remaining members of Acend could be anywhere, and he's going to be spotted out by the Neural Theft. CNED is just coming straight up to find him. Doesn't take long to clear up from him. Difficult round there for Navi. I think one of the things that hurt them as well is when they did decide to make that rotate back over to the A site. Great. They had nothing to help facilitate their push onto the site. So a lot of teams, when they want to push onto A, you'll see them use something, for example, the Viper's Wall, to actually help them move into that default plant spot. But of course, the Viper's Wall from Navi had been used over by the B site, over towards the defender spawn. They didn't really have any way to push up. By the time they came back out, there was someone ready to meet them. So they kind of got sandwiched there.
Zeke with the Pinata plays, able to get a fiesta going for Acend. He looks to get a little bit more going as well. Flash through, and Starkso able to take down Arch. CNED challenging, and yet again finding the kill. Starkso operating around this Viper Wall perfectly. And they are being traded off just a little bit. 2 versus 1 now as Dino to try and save Navi from going to match point. Picks up the operator, looks to challenge. But they don't want to take that risk. 1 bullet left. Needs to look for the reload. Waits for Zeke to peek. Not quite going to happen just yet. Trying to bait out the shots, and Acend biding their time. Moving around the corner for Dino. There's the intel. Moves faster, gets 1. Looks for a second as well. Knows that he's playing close as well. Pulling out the classic, trades it out. This is a really heads-up swap. The positions are known. Moves through, again fakes it. 40 seconds, a lot of time to play with here. Dino around the corner. But in the end, it's Acend to win it yet again. 12 rounds on the board, Geo. And they are up to match point here in this best of 3.
Oh man, what has happened in this half? I mean, this is what I was saying as well. As soon as we got to the half, I was like, wow, this is really close, but also we don't know what's going to happen. And again, I think this reinforces that suspicion I had that the reason that Navi decided to start off on the defense is because they knew from, past records, past games that Acend had played, that Acend were really good at the defense on this map. So even though Navi were really going to come in at a disadvantage regardless of which side they started on, purely because of their lack of experience on this map, it was more likely to be disadvantageous for them if they were to be on the attacking side. And that's what we're seeing in this half. That's why Navi are taking a tactical timeout here, because really they only have 1 more chance to make this work. They lose this round, they lose the map. And that's a really brutal way to start off the series, knowing that this is your first map and you would have to go through another 2. You don't want to be the team who is starting off on that kind of an experience, because it's going to affect you.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's not the sort of place you want to be doing it as well. I mean, this is pretty crucial in terms of matches, right? Like, both of these teams potentially only 2 matches winning against 2 matches to win away from qualifying for Masters, right? Like, you make it to those upper bracket semis, and you're pretty much guaranteed to make it on through. If you're able to push on towards those finals, then you have that chance to prove yourself over in Berlin, but still have to get there. And if Acend can take this first map away, they are going to be 1 step closer. Looking to try and go for the flash around the side. Starkso doesn't quite land the spray, but Zeke's there to take down SSK. Flash in response, but nothing to be found for Dinks as he moves on through. Traded out, and beautiful from Starkso. 2 kills found. Acend just looking clean right now on their defense. Viper's Pit over on A, and what can you do here for Navi? There's really very little. Yeah,
I mean, you've got Cloud all the way up in elbow, trying to watch from this side of mid. Now, these other two players, Dino and Arch, they're trying to creep up through there, and I suppose you do that, have that information, knowing that mid is clear, knowing that you can actually make that rotate. On the other side of things, you can actually see the rotate being made up through the defender spawn. All right, well, you could always... Oh, and the spike is in the worst spot as well.
Oh, man, it's under the...
directly on the crosshair.
It's under the purview of the Guardian himself, CNED.
Oh, no.
Starkzo's not going to let it slip either. Cloud is going to go down, and now it's just Dino with it all to do, and no one to do it with. Looks to try and challenge versus 3. The spray's just chaotic left, right, back and forth. A triple kill on the final round, and Acend go 13-7.